Yo, welcome to the Listen Up podcast, man. And everybody getting excited about recruiting. So I brought in a guy that understand these recruits and measurables and all this stuff, even mentor a couple people. Friend of the show, T Wig.
What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? You good, man?
Yeah, man. I was arguing with your homeboy, your co-host. We made up, though, man. I called Brandon, man. We made up. We good.
Man, let me tell you something. I told Brandon earlier, I said, Brandon, I'm gonna get T Wig on the show so he could do, talk about the recruits. I already know him like that. And he was like, man, fuck T Wig.
I know he said that. I cussed his ass out earlier, but we good. I called him, man. Yeah, I called him in between clients, man. He was like, I don't want to talk to you. But that's how, man, people got to understand something. Brandon's like my brother. So when we talk on Twitter, folks have to understand that usually it looked like we start in World War II, but 9 times out of 10, both of us laughing while we're doing it. So it's all good. But we kind of like telling the truth because he can be Mr. Negative sometimes. And I be trying to tell him, man.
I told
stop
him
that. Stop being like that. Stop being that way.
I told him that he tried to put me like I was making him do. I said I don't be making.
No. I ain't letting you off the hook because people got to understand me and your relationship too. Because me and you start speaking to each other for a whole year. So every time when I get a chance, I tell you to shut up too. Because whenever I'm arguing at him and you jump in, I say shut your ass up too because you just as bad. And so people got to understand that when I'm doing it to you, I'm just playing with you too because it's like brotherly love. I love when people try to jump in and then we all gang up on them like, oh no, what are you talking about? Who you hollering at? Because I know you ain't getting into this. Because this is a big brother, little brother thing, man. It's like right. We can argue at each other, but they can't argue with us. You know what I'm saying?
I can slap my brother in the back of the head. That don't be you can.
Yeah, and you can always tell when I'm tweeting and drinking.
Yeah,
you can always tell.
Oh boy, I ain't even finna get started on that.
No. Good day today, though, man. I think it could have went worse. It could have went worse, but I think it went better, and I know you're gonna get into it, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah. Well, let's you go ahead and kick it. What did you think of the recruiting class?
I thought they hit certain areas, and the areas that I thought they hit was bendy, edgy guys. And what I mean by that is we had talked about it about a week ago when people were wondering why they hadn't offered the kid from down south. I think it was a kid from Fort Meade,
Anderson.
Anderson. And I said, look, he's 6'3", 6'4", 235, maybe a little bit bigger than that. And I said, when I watch his tape, he looks like a strong side end. I say, now, when you think about it, they have a team full of strong side ends. And they have commits that are strong side ends, even though Byron Turner is a guy that can pass rush, even though I think Farmer is a guy that can potentially pass rush. Right. And Sean Bray, the kid from Orlando, he can pass rush. And they're thinking that he might even be able to move inside to a 3 technique. I said, what's the one thing at Florida State that you notice? Whether it's Quashon Fuller, whether it's Chapman, the kid that just left, whether it's Big Country, a lot of them are guys that they look the part. They're 6'3", 6'4", whatever. They 255, 260. Even with the guys, Janarius Robinson. I said, what's the one thing that's missing? They're missing that bend, that edgy, twitchy guy. I say you can't keep just filling the roster up with guys like that. And me and you had this talk about 2 weeks ago, didn't we?
Right.
So what it is they waited and they were patient and they went all in and they trusted themselves and they ended up getting 2. They got one from South Florida and Peyton, who really is probably going to start out as a stand-up linebacker playing the position that Amari Gaynor plays. Right. And if his body fills out correctly, in the situational way, they'll use him as a stand-up end and maybe put his hand down. But I think maybe in a year and a half or 2 years, what you're going to see him on one side, you're going to see George Wilson on the other. Or whoever else they decide to get for competition sake. Maybe they get 2 more guys. Maybe the kid that they have that's coming up from Fort Lauderdale next year, if they can keep him. Or maybe they can get Marvin Jones Jr. or whoever they decide to get that they can develop. But the thing is you got to get those lengthy guys. And what me and Brandon were going at it about earlier, we were talking about this kid's weight.
Right.
We can put weight on him. Coach Storms has shown you can put weight on guys, but you can't put length and range on these other guys that are short with short arms.
You can't make them twitchy either. You can't make them twitchy. I mean, you either got that or you don't. Yeah. You
can't stretch them out like they Twizzlers or gummy bears. You just can't do it. So the thing is Storms has shown he can add good weight to people, but you can't stretch them out and make them long and lean. And I really do think that Florida State needed to do that. Now they still added those other guys. B. Turner 6'4".
Right.
Farmer's a grinder and a hard worker, and he's 6'3".
Right. I like Farmer.
Right. And then you look at Sean Jackson. Jackson was going to Alabama, and Alabama was going to probably turn him into a 3 technique. And he's another guy who gets after and who's hungry and who's a pass rusher.
Right.
So you add them, man, and I really think they addressed that defensive line. And they didn't get a bunch of fat dudes.
Right.
They got guys who can add good weight to.
And when we talked about, I think we talked about that, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we talked about it because I was like, man, why are they not offering these guys? You told me this, and I can be reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's something that makes sense. And I'm like, that makes sense because I know the prior staff idea was you get guys and I want to budget you to death. You know what I'm saying? I want to roll grade a lot. And with this staff, it's a little different because they kind of do want guys that's a lot more twitchy, especially like when I look at the tight ends, they got a lot of twitchy tight ends. They don't have guys, they're very like twins, like a halfbacks / tight ends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The last staff wanted big tight ends, guys that can roll grade a little bit more. So it actually makes a lot more sense.
But if you recall, the kid that got hurt from UCLA is not a pass catcher. He was what you're talking about. He's a blocker. And he got hurt. And he got hurt. And then the kid that they signed that they took from Tennessee, that big dude, he was another big guy who was a basketball player. And I don't know if he's going to really work out, but he was another big blocking guy. So when you look at this class, they got a big blocking guy from California out of JUCO, and then they got a pass catcher in Jackson West. They took one of 2 people. And the tight end position, in my opinion, was always neglected under Jimbo. They'd add a guy here, they had a guy here and there, but really they didn't really use that tight end position after Nick O'Leary. And then, of course, on the Willie, they didn't do anything with the tight end position. So the thing is they want to redo the tight end room. So they're starting to really do that. So I kind of give them credit for that. I can't really talk about, some of the other things, but I try to give them credit for what they're trying to do. And I know they can't do everything in one day. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to all happen overnight. So I look at the positives as to what they do. And then I look at the positives in terms of this, the stuff me and you talk about weeks ago. And then when they do it, I say, hey, I admit that they did it. And then when they don't do it, I say, hey, they didn't do it. Everybody talking about the offensive line. I don't think they've done enough on the offensive line yet. I like the 2 pieces. Now, the 2 pieces that they have right now, I love them because I think or is the type of guy that's going to be an NFL player if he progresses the way you think. And I think Bryson Estes is nasty.
Yeah, I like Bryson Estes. Yeah.
I love both of those guys, but that's only 2 people. You need more than that. So we'll see what the McAnally kid does, and we'll see if they can add another piece. But I want to see them get 4 guys in instead of just 2.
Right. Okay. So let's go down the D line first because I think that's where they hit. In my opinion, they did the best job on the D line. So let's start there. Chambray Jackson, what you think about that guy right there?
Love him. You try to project and you try not to, always compare him to other people. But to me, he looks like a little bit bigger version of DeMarcus Walker. And I think that's kind of where you can project him to be. On his old listing, he's 6'2", 230, but on the new stuff, they say he's 6'4", 245. So let's say he's 6'3", 250, right?
Right.
He's quick, he's fast, got long arms, he plays inside and outside. He looks like a dude that in 2 years, because of the way his body's built, you look at his face, he looks like a dude's gonna be 275, 280. By the time he's a sophomore. So that means he's probably going to be inside. If you recall, Dennis Briggs, when they recruited him, was 6'4", 256, right?
Right.
Dennis Briggs pushing 285, 290 pounds now. That's what happens when these dudes start lifting weights. They're 17 when you sign them. They get in college, they get on their beef program, they got access to food all day long, and they're lifting weight. They gain all the weight. So you can imagine he's going to gain 30 pounds in the first 2.5 years he's on campus. So you probably looking at a dude that's a 3 technique, and what you wonder is, okay, when he gains the weight, is he still going to keep the explosiveness? And that's where that's where guys like James Coleman, the guys that train people, and Coach Storm, that's where they come in at. They try to keep the explosiveness on the athlete while they gain the weight.
Right, and that's a big deal. So Chambray Jackson, I actually like Chambray Jackson. I think you can get it done with the guy. And I love stuff with Fuller's defense. He need guys that can kind of do a lot of stunts, a lot of slants. He asked a lot of those guys. And I really do believe the guys he had this year didn't actually fit the slants and the stunts that he wanted to do. So I think he addressed what his defense needs. And for the record, I know people don't like Fuller. I don't like Fuller. I started the Fire Fuller campaign, but his ass is coming back next year. His ass is coming back next year. Just be ready for that. So let's go to Byron Turner.
The boogeyman, you know, for the most part, for this entire process, he was my favorite recruit they had.
Okay.
Because I knew they needed a long edge guy. But I said, okay, if they don't get one of those long guys, well, he's going to be it. You know what I'm saying? Because I do think he can rush the passer. I honestly think he's the guy right now with the NFL body. He's the dude that's 6'3.5", 237 pounds, probably the most ready to play out of all the linemen we just mentioned. Because he's going to be able to play on the outside, whereas Sean Bray Jackson might be a little bit of a tweener. This dude is a pure defensive end that can line up at that strong side defensive end position, can give you some pass rush, gets off the ball. And one of the things I saw today where Brian McFadden, when he talked to Fuller, when he broke down the tape, Fuller said about him specifically that he noticed on tape that the one thing that he did, he got off first. When the ball was hiked, he was always the first guy to move. So that's a big thing for me. He gets
that is
off
a big
first.
thing.
That is, he gets off before anybody.
Let me stop you right there because we got a guy on the team right now, Quayshawn Fuller, who takes him forever to get off the fucking football. Like he's literally in his pants and the play is almost over. So that is a big deal. And that's funny to me. Like if that's something that's coachable, like as a kid just born with that get off, that's kind of weird to me that we got players that can't get off the football.
Well, Quayshawn was a tweener, and that's what I keep talking about what those old coaching staffs did. Remember, Quayshawn was like almost 270 pounds at 6'2", and he was a defensive tackle / defensive end, and you didn't know whether he was going to be a 3 technique or whether he was going to be a defensive end. So what happened was he was a fat kid, and when they trimmed him down, well, he's an end. So it's easier to trim him down than it is to bulk him up because he's not long. That goes back to that length I'm talking about.
Right. And he's not long. Got short arms.
Right. Like Malcolm Ray. Like Malcolm Ray, he's not long. So when you add that weight to him, what happens?
Yeah, you're right.
You have a soda machine.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of soda machines.
Right. You don't have a rangy athlete that if an offensive line sticks and extends his arms out, who can do anything?
Yeah.
You take him and you stick your arms out and he can't get around you because his arms aren't long enough. So the problem is that's you can have some hardworking dudes, but you can't have a whole roster full of them. And everybody ain't Timmy Jernigan. Some people could be built like that and they just special. Everybody ain't Timmy Jernigan. Right,
that's true. I mean, Timmy was so damn strong. It was,
he's a man among boys, right?
Yeah, he was so strong it didn't matter. We had every Marcus on here talking about Tim Jernigan, how he was just so strong and so quick that he can get in a lane and in a gap, back out the gap. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big deal. So let's get to Joshua Foreman, who actually, I was at Joshua Foreman. I was like, damn, I forgot he was even in the class. It's crazy.
I didn't. I was scared. I was scared they was going to lose him to Texas A&M or Tennessee. Right. And I didn't want them to lose him. I thought it was a good year for the Panhandle, and they needed a kid from the Panhandle. And
they definitely need that.
Hard-working kid, grinder, another one of those DeMarcus Walker type kids. 6'3", gonna bring it every single play. Will be a dude that's gonna can push for a starting position at some point, can pass rush, will give you the business. I don't necessarily know what his upside is, right? But he the kind of kid you can't count out. I think he's one of those kids that's hungry. He raises the floor of your room up, and he's gonna always challenge whoever's in front of him. He's gonna challenge him, and he's just one of those kids that you need on your team who's gonna be in your 4-man rotation. And when you put him in the game, he's gonna put work in, and that's what you need at Florida State. He is a Florida State football player, and that's what we needed.
So worst case scenario for him is a guy that pushes in practice, and a guy that if you get a 5-star next year, he's gonna push that 5-star to be because
he could start.
Right, I'm not saying he can't start. But I'm saying on the down, let's just say don't plan to be this great All-American or this 3-year starter. Worst case scenario, he's going to be a good practice guy, pushing guys. If you recruit over him, it's a good thing because that means they've outworked him to start in front of him.
Yeah, I don't think when you look at him and what the type of kid he is and the way he works, right, he's going to force you to play him. and he's
Okay.
gonna force the people around him to work.
Okay.
I don't think unless you do him dirty, he ain't a transfer.
Okay.
He's gonna make you play him, and he's gonna make somebody beat him. That's right.
Lunch pail type guy.
That's right.
All right. So let's go to George Wilson, man. The guy from Virginia Tech, right? That guy from Virginia.
Yeah, from Virginia Beach.
Yeah, Virginia Beach. Okay. Which that used to be like a really good foothold for us a long time ago, man.
Yeah,
so that's kind of good to have us back in there.
Virginia Beach is close to the Tidewater area. Some people think Virginia Beach is the Tidewater area, which is more Chesapeake. It's in the area. It's good that we got a player from that area.
Right.
I like what he said. He said he saw Tallahassee virtually, and he said it looked a whole lot different where I come from. First of all, I want that hungry. I want that, right?
Right.
Because I've been up there. My son was stationed up there, and he's right. That's the whole Allen Iverson, Plexico Burris, Percy Harvin. Yes, sir. That's that.
Yeah.
And I love the way his mom spoke about Odell. I love the kid, man. I like what I saw him on tape. He played football his whole life and basketball. Then he switched because he was tall. He got a mid-major offer in basketball. He said, "You know what? I'm going back to football." So he came back to football, and there he is. You got Auburn, South Carolina, Florida State, North Carolina. So basically, I think he probably was going to Auburn, and then when they went through a coaching change, Odell won him over, and Florida State won him over. So I think Florida State was in it anyway. Look, you can never say this about a kid, but I'm gonna say it. The projection for him, if things go right, is the National Football League. That's the athleticism that he has. When you talk about a basketball player who can play football, who got that nasty in it, that's that. So you're talking 215, right? And so this was me and Brandon was going back and forth about, and Brandon understand this, but I was just like, come on, Brandon, don't say that. He's 215.
Right.
I think between now, he's not an early enrollee. So by the time he gets to campus in June, he can be 220, 222, 223.
Right.
By the time Storms gets his hands on him and they start practice, he can be 225. Right. And I'll get with Big Game about this and find out.
Right.
Can he be 225, 230 by the time they start practice? And if he's a 227-pound situational pass rusher, whether or not he plays as a true freshman or whatever, at least by the time he's a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, you're looking at a 232, 235-pound, 6'5" long arm freakazoid. Right. And that's what we want. So even if it's not immediate help, what you need in the fold at Florida State is we do have to get to the point as a program anyway at some point where it's like a farm system, where we're like Alabama and Ohio State, where we get 5 stars, but we're not dependent on them.
Right.
Unless they playing in space, unless they cornerbacks or wide receivers or running backs, because usually, and this was said today too by Dillingham and by Coach Fuller when they were asked which guys have the best chance of playing early, and they said guys that play in space because it's less nuanced. So Fuller didn't mention anyone, but he said the guys that play in space. Dillingham actually said Burrell. Right. Because he plays in space. And Burrell is the only wide receiver recruit they have right now. So Burrell, because he's a wide receiver, Dillingham said it by name, Burrell. Burrell has the chance to play early because he's playing in space. And when you're making that adjustment, it's easier for you. And you saw this year who played early as freshmen? Running backs.
Yeah.
Douglas. Yeah. Toafili. Those guys, those skill position guys got a chance to get on the field earlier for Florida State than anybody because it's less for them to understand.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really that high on Burrell. You know what I'm saying? It's just something about him don't pop off for me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know Norvell they have big wide receivers they can put in the slot to do a lot of boxing out, especially when you get into
Sam, you froze? Hello. Doing a live podcast about Florida State.
Yo, sorry about that. Hey,
I'm back at you.
yeah, I thought, man. I need to get this Wi-Fi going right.
What kind of Wi-Fi you got, boy? I'm just messing with
Man,
you.
you know my son, that Baby Shark, bro. He killing the Wi-Fi Baby Shark around here, bro. Baby Shark everywhere.
All right.
Now let's go ahead and get ready to wrap. I know you said you got about 10 more minutes, so I want to talk about Shaheem Brown, Amarian Cooper, and Rod Orr.
Well, let's get to Burrell real quick. You was talking about Burrell. You said you weren't really keen on Burrell. The thing I like about him, I don't want to gloss over everybody like I like everybody.
Mhm.
The positive thing about Burrell that I like about Burrell is his ability to fight for the ball. And
Right.
so when I look at him, I think about guys like Debo Samuel,
Mhm.
Auden Tate. I think about big receivers like that.
Right, right.
Physical receivers, guys that, not DK Metcalf. That's freaky. But that kid, that Brown kid now that plays for the Titans, when he played, those big type of guys on college level that go up and fight for the ball, that can do some things in the red zone. They do a lot of little things that make your team better. So, we'll see. They all can't be, speedy 6'2", 195, 200-pound track guys. So he's a football player. He's a football player. I can see him doing some reverses and red zone stuff,
But Norvell like to use the big guys to put him in the slot, to box out, especially in the red zone, to catch jump balls like that and stuff. Some of those angle routes. So I can see why he likes Burrell for his offense. I'm just not big on, what I'm saying? It's like I'm not like, oh,
I got you.
I feel like we can grab. I feel like we're gonna grab a whole lot of Burrells in the future. I feel, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we got one now, so you ain't got to do it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Shaquem Brown, who actually, that's a guy like what's the guy name that's number 3 on the defense right now? Brownlee.
Yeah.
Shaquem Brown. He's like a Brownlee type guy to me that's gonna come in like underrated, but gonna fight for a spot and be playing a lot. You know what I'm saying?
So you know what he is? We talked about Farmer. That's what he is.
Right.
Shaquem Brown is Farmer in the secondary, and I think he gives you versatility. So imagine if Shaquem Brown is what we think he is,
right?
And he's got that length and that size, and he's in the same. Imagine him in the secondary with Travis Jay and Arden Tate. Right. Not Arden Tate. What's the kid name? Demore Tate.
Demore Tate. Yeah. You
got all of those dudes, 6'2", 100. You got all that speed and size just lurking around in the secondary.
Right.
And they all got that attitude and they all work hard. And then you look over the other side and you got Brownlee.
Yeah.
So you start to see the fight. You see how you give yourself a fighting chance when you got those guys and the dude from North Carolina, they keep throwing him the ball, those jump balls.
Yeah, it's aggravating.
No. You ain't got some little dude 5'9" holding on, grabbing his shirt. No, you got some dogs trying to. No. This ain't happening. That's the kind of stuff when you start getting competitive guys like that, guys that compete with that length and that size. And it was like, no, this ain't. You got a whole bunch of them. Alabama, they have a whole bunch of dudes like that, and that's how you win.
Okay. So let's go to Amari Cooper. Oh, you know what? We did not talk about Patrick Payton. So let's talk about Patrick Payton and Amari Cooper, and we can wrap with those two.
I heard Patrick Payton is special. When I hit you Sunday, and like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I said Payton decommitted from Nebraska, and my sources just told me he gonna commit to Florida State Monday.
Right.
We got a pass rusher. And I think Sunday it broke, and that he was crystal ball towards Florida State. So me and a couple of my people, I think Big Game had got it probably before me, and then because I got it too from somewhere else, it was confirmation.
Right.
And Big Game got it actually before me. When I called Big Game, he had it already. So and we got it from 2 different places. So I got it from somebody who connected to South Florida. Blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. One, just like we talked about Tidewater, we needed that reconnection to South Florida. What are some of the critics of Mike? What have some of them been saying? We need connections. We need relationships. Everybody in Miami don't want to stay in Miami. They can't. They full. Everybody from South Florida don't want to stay. Some people want to get away. I'm telling you, man. I've seen kids from certain areas. They want that other kid that Lewis. Some people want to go. Some people don't want to stay home. And he's one of them. He was one of those kids. He was trying to go somewhere else. He was trying to do something else. And fortunately for us, that's what happened. We had a chance to get him, and he's able to do something else. And because you sitting here staring at my screen and you ain't blinked your eyes, you either caught on an episode of Get Out or your Wi-Fi done froze again. Which one is it? I think Sam is froze again on his Wi-Fi. Let me see if I get the message from him. Yeah, I ought to fire him up right now. I would fire him and Brand. So they can't talk back. So I'm on their live audit. I ought to eat them up right now on their stuff, but I don't have time. I wish I did. I got to go do a podcast with a guy from the Baltimore Ravens for the lockdown. I got their platform right now. I ought to wear them out right now because I'm good with it, but I'm not gonna do that to them. I love them to death. They're my brothers. Ooh, this will be good. I wish I was drinking right now because I could really. I could. I ain't gonna do that. I love y'all, man. It's Tony Wiggins, man. I'm gonna be back with y'all. These are my brothers. Support this podcast. These brothers do a great job. They care about Florida State. And when we argue and when we fuss amongst each other as brothers, we just joking around, especially on Twitter. We just try to have fun. Y'all continue to take care of each other. I'm out. This is your man, Tony Wiggins. Peace.
Yo, man, sorry about that, y'all. Hey, but we gonna be back next time. We say he closed me out, but we gonna get it back better than ever next time, man. Sorry about that, man. So, man, y'all have a good day. Recruiting class ain't that bad. Could be better, but you know, it's about as bad as my Wi-Fi. It's hitting, then it's not hitting. So y'all have a good day, man.